Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. Yeah, the Gators QB situation is getting rough, and it's getting kind of scary. And when I go through it with you, you're going to be a little bit shocked and surprised, to say the least.
You're right. This is no place for us. Let's get out of here.
This is kind of a little bit crazy almost, but look, it's the Gators. They do some crazy things sometimes. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know, but it's very sketchy. Now, this story, it's in All Gators Fan Nation, and we're going to go through that. Also, we're going to show you a video from 247 Sports that actually is combined with this that tells me it's not just some crazy conspiracy thing, that they're really thinking about doing this. As you know, they got a QB problem. They brought in a guy by the name of Graham Mertz, who played at Wisconsin, I believe, and he's throwing almost as many interceptions as touchdowns. He was actually a big-time recruit in high school, but I think he's played there a couple of years at Wisconsin and it didn't go so well. So I guess they're going to be relying on him, and I don't think anybody's comfortable with that, especially after the spring game. Every YouTuber out there and every writer that covers the Gators, they were not impressed with the spring game. So Billy Napier wants another quarterback, and he's made it clear he wants a fourth quarterback and to compete, obviously, with Graham Mertz, and I believe the other guy is Jack Miller, and I think there's one other. But check out this story, and this is by Zach Goodall, who covers the Gators. And you go down here, it says the most pressing positions of need, and we'll go down here to QB. It says Napier has suggested multiple times this offseason that Florida intends to secure another scholarship quarterback before the next campaign begins. It says they brought in, of course, Graham Mertz, and they talked about here the likeness-related collapse of Jaden Rashada's class of 2023. They thought they were going to have this five-star in there, a real high four-star, and that didn't happen because of the money. Napier said he'd like to have 4 or 5 quarterbacks. Right now they have 3. It says Florida's in the market for another QB. I think we'll know pretty soon. So that's what I would say in that regard. And says considering the portal window, and it's actually open now. It's from the 15th to the 30th. It says a graduate transfer could always be the target because graduate transfers can transfer anytime. They don't have to have a portal window, okay? But he said another possibility would be to reclassify the Florida's class of 2025 quarterback commitment, Austin Simmons. It says while reclassifications are usually unpredictable, Simmons presents a special case. Although he can be confused as a rising junior at the prep level due to his recruiting year, Simmons has surpassed the class credits needed to graduate high school and is currently dual enrolled to earn college credits. It says, in theory, Simmons could make the jump to the class of 2023 and join the Gators this summer. He's even acknowledged the possibility in interviews, although he has yet to confirm if reclassification's in his plans. He said it's a possibility, but I don't know yet. I'm still talking to my family about it. I'm not really too sure about it, and we are still talking about the pros and cons, but it's a possibility. So to back that up, let me show you the video on 247.
Walk us through how Billy Napier plans to fill that hole. Blake, they brought in Graham Mertz in the portal. He's, of course, competing with Jack Miller for the job. But with this second portal window now open, it's no secret that they could potentially try to find a guy there. So what is the plan, though, for addressing that position?
Sure, like you said, coming out of that spring game for Florida, Billy Napier met with the media. And he wasn't shy in saying that, they were looking to add another quarterback to that room. It's a position where Napier has wanted to have 4 guys on the roster. Currently there's 3. Went and got Graham Mertz out of the portal during that first window. So at this point, as far as guys in the portal, there hasn't really been any names. But I think that Florida could go a completely different route here. There's still some things maybe to play out, but they have a 2025 commit in Austin Simmons, a 4-star quarterback, top 100 guy, right there out of Pahokee High School. This is a guy that is already completed his core high school credit classes. He's essentially done with high school, already taking classes at Miami-Dade College there at the college level. Already has, I think, somewhere 12, 15 credits at that level there. So this is a guy that if he wanted to, he could graduate high school early, move up from the 2025 class to the 2023 class, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty unprecedented. That's not a position that I've seen guys, move up 2 years there. So, that's a guy that, could come in there, forego his last 2 years of high school football, could come in there and start getting that development at the college level, work under Billy Napier a little earlier, and also kind of helps Florida in the sense of, the Jaden Rashada deal fell through there for Florida. And here you go. You can trade that in with another 4-star guide out of the 2025 class who reclassified. So I think that's one route they could go. Certainly there's another way they could go there if they are some portal names there that they look around and look into. I think that they are exploring every avenue between Simmons reclassification, who hasn't really made a decision on what he will do there. So that could go a lot of different ways. Or there's maybe a name that has already been in the portal previously through that early window if they find through there, doing their research, or if there's any names that shake out there in the second window. So still a ways to go there, but I as far as what Napier was saying there in that spring, after the spring game there, that they're looking for another arm.
All right, so obviously there's some fire to that smoke. It's a possibility, I guess. Now, I thought we'd already covered this on their 2024 classification with DJ Lagway, which is a high 4-star, almost 5-star out of Texas. They were talking about reclassifying him, which I thought was a terrible idea. You're going to bring in some 16, 17-year-old kid that into the SEC? I mean, that's like into the Lions' den? That's not a good idea at all. Now they're talking about a guy even younger. That's how badly they need a QB. I mean, you can't need a QB that bad. Okay, that just doesn't make any sense. And like I said, I covered this. Actually, I'll play a little clip of the video. But here's what their plan is to deal with this issue. And they're not only talking about it in Swamp 247, but I'm going to show you a YouTuber that's discussing it as well. It says the final option the team must at least consider convinced highly touted 2024 quarterback commit DJ Lagway to reclassify and join the team this summer. He's a junior in high school. This kid's a junior in high school. I don't even know if he's got his driver's license, okay? But they want him to come in early because they wouldn't pay that kid money. Are they going to pay DJ? So anyway, he is a big-time prospect. He's a high 4-star or a 5-star, depending on where you look. He's drawn comparisons to Hendon Hooker. Of course, Hendon Hooker is 25 years old. He said if his academic progress allows it, he's got to make up an extra year somehow. Said it's a Hail Mary, but if it worked, it could position Florida quite well for its future. So let me see if I got this straight. You're going to put this little teenager in there who's, 16, 17 years old, bring him in a year early. He's not going to get to play a senior year of high school. He's not going to get all that experience and to grow and actually mature and throw him into the SEC. I think that's a brilliant plan. What they probably ought to do is just this. That's right. Just panic. Just run around in a circle. Now I'm going to show you a YouTuber, and this guy's a good YouTuber. He covers the Gators. And the nice thing about it, even though he's a big homer and loves his Gators, and I can appreciate that. I do the same thing with the Vols. He can be quite realistic, and he uses common sense, which is, kind of hard to do for a Gator, but this guy does have some common sense, and he puts out good content. Whenever I want to check on the Gators, I usually go to his channel. But here's his opinion on this, and they discussed it.
The collective reneged on that deal was what was stated in the article, and then that's been the battle ever since, and nobody's followed through with it, and here we are, right? Now we've got no more Jaden Rashada. If you go look at Gator news and closer to Gators, a lot of them are saying, I don't feel that it was $13 million. I think that's false, et cetera, et cetera. And that may be true. Unfortunately, the bigger picture, all the big industries are spreading one narrative. And now that perception of whatever it may be will soon become a reality because you've got everybody talking about it and spreading the same exact story, whether it's true or not, whether it's 1.3 and they got rid of the point because it makes the story that more appealing to get more clicks. Unfortunately, that's where we've landed ourselves. And then obviously the video of Chris Dorian went viral of him saying, I'm glad he didn't take the $13 million. I'm glad that we're not paying him, right, etc., because Tebow deserved $13 million. The guys that earned it, right? And I completely agree with his statement. I completely agree with what Chris Dorian's saying. Here's the issue. That's not the world we live in anymore. Unfortunately, and this is why we were all concerned about, we live in a world now where this is what it appears to be, is that you're having to be paid to play. I'm not saying that I agree with paying Jaden Rashada, so pump the brakes, okay? I'm just saying that his statement doesn't necessarily apply to this situation simply because he's not going to be the first player that's going to happen to, nor is he going to be the last.
Yeah, they're talking about the 13 million. They'll get into DJ, but here's one other comment about the contract.
And you had your analogy on the precast of shooting the text. We sent the $13 million contract. Whether he asked for it or not, we originally agreed on it. So there has to be some accountability there to Florida of whether the number is 13 million, 1.3 million, 130,000, whatever that number is, we agreed upon a number. That, in my thought, if I'm going to hold somebody accountable, look, that's on Florida. You put your hand in that basket and said, yeah, I'm willing to do that. And then something fell through, not quite sure what, and you decided to pull out of it. Now, they have every right to pull out of it, but you also have to handle the consequences. So sort of saying, who offered it? I mean,
and here they're going to talk about DJ Lagway and bringing him in a year early and what they think of that. Because like I said, that's what everybody's talking about in Florida.
Also sounds like Florida being selfish because recruiting cycle, and we dropped the ball on not being more active in the portal, but because we thought we had something that we didn't. So now we want to force a kid to rush his progress because of it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not a huge fan of it. It sounds great. I love it. I would love it as a fan. But if I'm DJ Lagway's dad, and if I'm DJ Lagway, like, look, do I really need to make that much of a rush? Should I get I'll get to go redshirt. I'll get to go play underneath 3 quarterbacks at Florida, but you're not going to get any playing time. You're going to redshirt. Or do I go play for a high school that's pretty damn good, get actual reps in, and go work on these stats and work on my NIL evaluation? Now, there is one part to this. I don't think DJ Lagway is about the money. I really don't. However, it's still a business. I think he's a smart business kid, man, and he can't collect anything in Texas right now. So he could do what Quinn Ewers did at Texas and come hang out at Florida for his freshman year and sell some merch and create content and that way. But I don't think that's his end goal. So is there really that much of a benefit for him to leave that early? I don't think so.
All right, so there are some rational people down there that are thinking this through. I think that's a terrible idea. First of all, he'd give up his senior year where he's going to get a ton of experience. He's not ready physically. You know, the kid's, 16, 17 years old, and you're going to throw him into the SEC, and then he comes up and let's say he redshirts. What does that really do for you? Nothing. So it's just pure panic is all it is, and High Top Sports at least sees it for what it is, and he's calling them out for the contract. Say, look, if that's what you agreed to, there you go. So, I mean, there are people down there that are realistic about things, and they're not just totally zany. But to sit there and talk about bringing in some junior from high school and think that's going to be your savior, that is a terrible idea. I wouldn't want the Vols to do that. I would not have wanted Nico to come in a year ago, if something had happened to Hendon and, maybe Joe didn't play well. Oh, let's just bring in this kid that's 16, 17 years old. That's a terrible idea. So anyway, they're just in pure panic mode. They're just throwing darts against the wall and hoping something sticks because they blew it with Rashada. You shouldn't have agreed to something that you couldn't pay. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that to you. And, look, if they want to panic, I'm going to put it on YouTube. All right. So what stands for DJ Lagway certainly stands for this other fella, for Austin Simmons, a guy that's a year younger, I guess. I mean, he's a sophomore? I guess he'd be a junior this year. You're going to bring him into there's a lot of development that needs to happen. Look, I'm hoping Nico doesn't have to play a whole lot this year. I'd like for him to get another year to build up his body and to get more comfortable with the system. Now, he may have to play as a freshman if Joe were to get hurt, but I don't want him to have to unless it's absolutely necessary because, look, the freshman year is not an easy year for anybody. Peyton Manning struggled his freshman year, and, he turned out pretty good.
Omaha! Huh?
So I just think this is a terrible idea, and I think, look, they need to get another quarterback. I understand that. But bringing in kids from high school is just a tragic idea. Anyway, I saw that article and then I watched that video and I just almost couldn't believe it. So I thought I'd bring it to you. And I think it is scary. I think that's the right word. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and, of course, the Gators and every team that we play against, of course. And I've got a special place in my heart for the Gators and Steve Spurrier and all that. I like to vacation down there, but I don't let you care for their football team. And if you've not subscribed, it's right here on the left. Just hit that little button. Boom. That's all you got to do. Cost you nothing. Helps me out. I would appreciate it. And right over here is my most recent video. Be sure to check that one out. And we will see you next time on Sports Dog J.